I'm very thankful to the Justice and Peace Foundation of the South Korea for granting the 23rd Bishop Jkccs Justice and Peace Award to the Jammu and Kashmir Coalition of Civil Society, founded in the year 2000. Jkccs has been working in the Indian administrated Jammu and Kashmir on documentation and litigation of human rights violations. Our work is also focused on campaign and advocacy, highlighting the grim human rights situation in Kashmir. While the rights of the people of Jammu and Kashmir have been violated by the Indian state for more than 7 decades, it is only in the last 30 years that international attention was drawn towards this situation here. The late 1980s saw a period of armed struggle against the Indian rule, and the Indian state responded with excessive militarization across Jammu and Kashmir. In fact, Jammu and Kashmir is one of the highest militarized zones in the world, with nearly 650,000 armed personnel. Civilians' lives were disrupted and confronted with disproportionate violence by the Indian armed forces who were stationed in civil spaces. This confrontation led to a widespread violation of the human rights by the Indian armed personnel, who were and continue to be protected by laws that guarantees impunity. During this period, people and civil society-led documentation helped identify systematic violence perpetuated on the people of Jammu and Kashmir that included but were not limited to the extrajudicial executions and forced disappearances, torture, arbitrary detention, sexual violence, and destruction of the property. From the documentation, it has been reported that more than 80,000 people have been killed and nearly 8,000 people have been disappeared. There has been thousands of arrests under repressive laws, and hundreds of people have faced torture. The last decade has seen a rise in the unarmed protesters moving in the streets against these and many other violations. Mass mobilization of the said protesters continues to occur frequently from 2008 to 2016, and these were met with the excessive use of force by the Indian armed forces. In 2016, Kashmir witnessed the first mass blinding of the civilians by the use of pellet shotguns by the armed forces, which were condemned by the international human rights groups across the world. There has been a continuous clampdown on the communication and access to information through internet bans and shutdowns. In fact, Kashmir faced the second longest internet shutdown in the world between 2019 and 2021. Despite these violations, not a single armed force personnel have been prosecuted in the civilian courts for the crimes committed, as they are protected by arbitrary laws. The impunity stems from the idea of controlling the resistance of the people at any cost. The Indian government continuously denies access to international human rights bodies to Jammu and Kashmir to investigate these violations. In 2016, a request by then United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights for access to Jammu and Kashmir to investigate these allegations of human rights violations were denied. The UN groups monitor the situation remotely as the Indian state continues to deny access. This is an example of the Indian state's lack of transparency and accountability here. The relevance of the Justice and Peace Award is hugely significant for this Jkccs, as it will bring to light the ongoing human rights violations in the region, which have particularly accelerated following the Indian government's unilateral decision to revoke the limited autonomy of the region in August 2019. Our organization speaks truth to power through reports, programs, systematic documentation, litigation or other engagements in Jammu and Kashmir and outside. Jkccs work is aimed to promote ideas of human rights, justice, truth and peace and work towards the non-violent conflict resolution of the Kashmir. Our belief is that a vibrant civil society and institution building is essential for any society, particularly Jammu and Kashmir. Our commitment is to highlight and ensure that people of the Jammu and Kashmir must enjoy all the internationally guaranteed civil, political, economical, social and cultural rights, including the right to self-determination. By highlighting violations of the international humanitarian law, Jkccs seeks to draw and bring international solidarity to the struggle of rights of people of Jammu and Kashmir. Jkccs aims to engage international civil society and groups to seek truth, justice and reparations for the people of Jammu and Kashmir. Building an international alliance is essential for any breakthrough in breaking the silence over Kashmir and the widespread human rights violations the region faces. To ensure peace and democracy in a region, Jkccs believes that a culture of tolerance and respect for human rights is key. For this, the global civil society has to play an active and urgent role. As the oldest political conflict in the world, the international civil society cannot ignore the struggle of rights of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. The global civil society has a moral responsibility towards people of Kashmir, and its moral commitment should ensure their human rights takes precedence over the petty economical interest. It is unfortunate that in this day and age, there continues to be lack of accountability in matters of human rights violations in Asia. Human rights defenders are increasingly facing reprisals for their legitimate work as repressive regimes are coming to power across Asia. Their disregard for human rights and non-compliance with international human rights standards have been normalized. On international platform, the states claim to protect the rights of the people, but we all know that the reality on the ground is quite the opposite. Today, economical exchanges are prioritized by powerful nations in their interaction with developing countries, but conversation around human rights takes a backseat. We believe that when human rights are violated in any part of the world, it's not the internal matter of the country, but the sheer responsibility of the global community. Jkccs upholds the belief that democracy in any nation can only function when there is a strong commitment to protect rights and civil liberties. The award is to Jkccs is an important recognition of our work and encouragement to continue our endeavor for promoting values and ideas of the truth, justice and peace. Earlier recognition by the international civil society groups have only helped in furthering our work and building of international solidarity for the struggle of people of Jammu and Kashmir. As award like this will also inspire the next generation of activists and human rights defenders in Kashmir and motivate them to campaign for human rights and democracy. Finally, our pursuit for promoting and strengthening democratic values is in many ways related to the struggle of people of South Korea. Koreans have fought authoritarianism in both South Korea and North Korea. Korean people's commitment to these ideas is well known in the world because of the persistent struggle and effective alliances they were able to make internationally. Similarly, people of the Jammu and Kashmir continue to fight, albeit our voices remain unheard of and suppressed. The support for the South Korean society will help people of Kashmir to build alliances and get a platform to raise human rights abuses and denial of democracy at an international level. The award will help recognize the need and importance of the human rights in the militarized zone like Kashmir and ensure immunity for human rights defenders in the region. South Korea is a shining example of democracy in Asia. By honoring us with this prestigious award, it becomes an additional responsibility for all of you in helping other countries and regions in promoting the same values and democratic institution building. We sincerely hope and believe that this award is not just a singular event, but will initiate a process of continued solidarity with the people of Jammu and Kashmir and the protection of their rights on the part of the people of South Korea and other democratic peoples across Asia. Thank you on behalf of the Jammu and Kashmir Coalition of Civil Society. Thanks.